Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Unorthodox Vegan. My name is Sean Gold, and today, episode, I think it's 42, we're going to be making a lentil mushroom burger. Yes, we did make a lentil burger before, but this one is a lentil mushroom burger, and it is part of that SRAG, the Environmental Sustainability Rotary Action Group plant-based, plant-rich diet challenge menu. So it's item number 5 or 6 on that list, and I thought, hey, why not we give that a try? So it is a lentil mushroom burger. So it's going to have lentils and mushrooms. And what I have done is I have pre-prepared a cup and a half of green lentils. And what I did is I boiled. Well, it's interesting that the recipe said put in 1 1/4 cups of dried lentils into 3 cups of water, boil it, and you're going to get twice as much as you need. And I thought, why wouldn't you just put in, I don't know, 3/4 of a cup of lentils into 1 1/2 cups of water, and then you get the right amount, roughly. Anyway, doesn't matter. I have extra green lentils, which they said throw into a salad, which is a great idea. So anyway, I have 1 1/2 cups of green lentils. I also have 8 ounces of mushrooms. This is the what's it called? The cremini mushrooms or cremini mushrooms. I'm not sure how that's pronounced. So I have those roughly chopped up, and then I'm putting in the food processor, and I'm going to get them up a little finer, get them a little more chopped up, and then I'm going to fry them. Anyway, we'll come back to that in a minute. I have supposed to be 1/2 cup of zucchini. I have a little extra, so I won't use it all, but I'll be putting that in. And I have some oats, about 1 cup of oats. I have half of a regular white onion chopped up. I have a tablespoon of flax, ground flax, mixed with 3 tablespoons of water to make a flax egg, so we get that nice thick consistency. I've already done that up, so that's really simple to do. Just mix those two together. And then I have, for some spices, I have smoked paprika, I have a chipotle powder, and I'm going to have some cumin. Calls for a tablespoon of smoked paprika, a tablespoon of the cumin, and a half tablespoon of the chipotle. I'll probably put in a tablespoon of each of those and half of this one because I'm not a huge fan of cumin. I like it. It's okay for a little bit, but when it gets too much, it's too much for me. And it called for 2 tablespoons of something called a coconut amino. Now, I looked it up and I sat there and said, I'm not going to use that very often, so why would I buy it? And I said, what's a good alternative for that? And by the way, whenever you see a recipe and it calls for an ingredient, just do and say, what's a good alternative, a close alternative? In this case, it was putting in, a tablespoon of soy sauce and a tablespoon. It'd be better if it was a low salt, so it will be a soy sauce, but a tablespoon of that and a tablespoon of balsamic vinegar. And that makes a very delightful, is close to equivalent coconut amino. So I'll be putting that together. I'm going to be, first of all, I'm going to be dicing up the cremini mushrooms. And once I get that, I'm going to put them onto a frying pan. I'll put a little bit of oil into the frying pan, and I'll fry them up. And with about a tablespoon of oil, just going to do that until it releases some of the moisture. And then I'm going to put those mushrooms back into the food processor, and then I'm going to add, get the onions slightly clarified in the sautéed in the frying pan. So I'll be doing that. And let's see, what else am I going to be doing? And then I am going to throw everything back into the food processor. The onions, and I think the onions are going to be with garlic. Oh, 2 cloves of garlic. I will have 2 cloves of garlic in there in a minute. And that and the zucchini and everything's going to go into the food processor. Grind it all up until it gets down to a nice sticky consistency. And then I will be putting it on a cookie sheet or a baking sheet of some sort. I don't use the parchment paper. I do if I have to, but I have some silicone sheets that are on cookie sheets, and I use that. And I just find it's easy. I just clean it, wipe it, clean it, and I can use it for a long time before I have to throw that out. So that's what I'll be doing, and it will go in the freezer for about 20 minutes just to let them firm up a little bit, and then we'll be frying them up. So got a lot of stuff to do in the next 5 to 10 minutes. I'm going to do up the mushrooms, and then I'm going to get the frying pan out and start to fry those up. And I'll be back in a minute. Bye for now. And we're back. I've already fried up the cremini mushrooms. I fried them up in the on the frying pan with a little bit of oil and a mix of the amino acid mix, which was the balsamic vinegar and the soy sauce. So I've done that, and then I put the mushrooms back in the food processor here, and I've just fried up or sautéed up the onions with the garlic. So I have the garlic and onions sauteed up, and I'm just going to add those into the food processor. So those have been until they kind of went clear or translucent. And I did put in the garlic, so I have the garlic well, I put in 3 cloves of garlic because, hey, I like garlic. So I put in 3 cloves of garlic. That's in there, along with the half of a white onion that's been fried up. So that's that. And the next thing is to add in all of the other goodies. So I'm going to put in the zucchini. It says for half a cup, so I'm not going to put it all in. I'm going to put in most of it, though, because it's probably about a little over a cup here, or about almost a cup there. So I'm going to put in about half of that. I'm going to put in a cup of the rolled oats, or oats, and I'll be putting in this flax egg, which was made up of 1 tablespoon of flaxseed and 3 tablespoons of water. So that's going in there. I'm putting in a teaspoon of the this is smoked paprika. I love that stuff. I love the taste of that one. And I'll be putting in the pure chipotle powder. I use this all the time, but I mix it usually with a few other ingredients and make my own chipotle mix. This is pretty potent stuff. I'm going to put in it says for half, but I'm going to put in just almost a full teaspoon of that chipotle powder. Make it a little spicy. All right, and of course we're putting in the cup and a half of lentils. This is the lentils that have already been cooked in the water, so they've absorbed a lot of water. Went from 1.25 cups of dried lentils to 3 cups of cooked lentils. All right, I think that's all the ingredients. Let's see, just want to make sure I got that in there. So I've got in there the lentils, the oats, the zucchini, flaxseed, smoked paprika, chipotle powder, and of course the onions and the mushrooms. So there we go. We're going to pulse that and get that to, trying to get the consistency. So it's a sticky consistency. So let's just see how that goes. And I think that's what we're going to call it. So it's a nice consistency. As you can probably see, it's a nice consistency. And what I'm going to be doing now is making that into patties and putting them on a cookie sheet, throwing them in the freezer, letting them cool down for about 20 minutes so that they get they're a little firmer and easier to cook with. And I'll be putting on the frying pan and cooking them up. See how it goes. Back in a minute. As you can see, I made up the patties. I put them in the freezer for 20 minutes. The recipe said that you could do 6 patties. They're pretty big patties, but I did 6. And I have my frying pan ready. I'm only going to cook up 1 just to give it a try, see how it goes, and I'll have the rest later for dinner for another time. But I'm just going to fry that up right now and see how that goes. I will be cooking it for about 5 minutes on each side, and we'll see how it all turns out. Back in a few minutes. I think it's time for a taste test. So I've got that burger fried up. I've got a bun ready with some relish and mustard and a tomato slice and some onions. And I'm going to put on a couple of leaves of fresh basil I just picked and a couple of leaves of spinach. I don't usually use lettuce, so I thought this might be better. Put that patty on there. Put this guy on top. And I just need a knife to cut it. Oh, what the heck. Let's see how this thing works. Okay, as you can tell in the cutting, that it did squash out that burger patty a little bit. So, it's not going to be as firm as I would like to have, but it is what it is. So let's see how it tastes. All right, let's do this. And of course, you can put whatever fixings you want or condiments you want in your burger. So I'm just going to do with what I like and see how that goes. I got to try the burger patty itself. I got too much other stuff in there. Let me just try a little bit of the patty. Mushroomy. It's got a nice texture to it. Nice. It's not bad at all. All right, so there you have it. It is a lentil mushroom burger, and that's part of the SRAG, the Environmental Sustainability Rotary Action Group Plant-Rich Menu Challenge, 15-day challenge. That recipe is out there. You can find it. I'll leave the link up here in a moment. As always, if you'd like to get a hold of me, you can email me on my email address at vrcompanions@gmail.com right up here. And please follow me on my YouTube channel. That's www.youtube.com/@the_unorthodox_vegan. And of course, as I said, these recipes are all on the esrag.org, esrag.org website. You can find it all there. Until next time, my name is Sean Gold. Have yourself a great day.